So, when you think about wealth, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a flashy sports car? Maybe a designer watch? Or all those exotic vacation photos you see flooding your social media feed? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on what wealth actually looks like. And I'll give you a little hint. It is almost never what you see online.
This quote right here, this is the core idea we're going to unpack. It's a pretty bold statement, right? It kind of flips everything we've been taught about success on its head. It suggests that, the loudest signals of wealth, they often come from the emptiest bank accounts.
So, let's kick things off with something called the wealth illusion. See, society has basically trained us to believe that what we see is what someone's worth. We see a person with expensive stuff, and our brain just instantly thinks, wow, they must be rich. But more often than not, it's a carefully crafted illusion. It's like a giant billboard hiding a really shaky foundation.
And this gets to the heart of the psychological split we're talking about. On one side, you've got people who are working to accumulate real, actual wealth. And on the other side, you have people spending all their money to just rent the appearance of it. They might look the same from the outside, sure, but their financial realities are on completely different planets. That's the real conflict behind quiet wealth.
So the big question is, why? Why do so many people fall into this trap of looking rich instead of actually being rich? Well, it's not just about a lack of willpower. It really comes down to two very powerful, invisible psychological forces that are practically hardwired into our brains.
Okay, so the first force is called conspicuous consumption. Now, this is not a new idea. It was coined way back in 1899, and it's pretty simple. As humans, we have this deep innate drive to signal our status to everyone around us. In today's world, what's the easiest way to do that? You buy and you display expensive, very visible things. It's basically a broadcast to the world that says, hey, I am successful. But here is where the trap really snaps shut. The second force is something called the hedonic treadmill. You know that feeling, right? The excitement of a new purchase, a car, a phone, whatever. It's great, but it always wears off. Your brain gets this awesome but temporary boost of happiness, but it always goes back to its baseline. And that leaves you looking for the next purchase to get that feeling all over again. And this is exactly how that cycle works. First, you buy that flashy new SUV. Second, you feel amazing for a couple of months. But then, third, you adapt. It's not the new car anymore. It's just your car. And that's when step 4 kicks in. Your brain starts scouting for the next hit. Maybe a bigger house, a more expensive watch. You have to keep spending more and more just to feel that same level of satisfaction. You're running faster and faster, but you're going absolutely nowhere. And all of this leads to a really powerful and, frankly, dangerous destination. You become what's known as loudly broke. Your status signal is cranked up to the max, but your actual financial health, it's on mute. You've got a high income, sure, and really high spending, but your net worth is basically zero, or maybe even negative.
Okay, so if that's the trap, what's the escape route? Well, it's something called the art of unsignaling. This is the totally counterintuitive strategy that the genuinely wealthy use. And it's not about some secret investment tip. It's about mastering the psychology of not needing to show off in the first place.
You see, for the quietly wealthy, the goals are completely different. It has nothing to do with impressing strangers at a traffic light. It's all about owning unseen assets, like a healthy stock portfolio, rather than seen liabilities, like that expensive car lease. Their focus is on building a financial moat to protect their family, not putting up a billboard to advertise their income.
Which brings us to a perfect head-to-head comparison between these two mindsets. In one corner, we have the loudly broke spender, and in the other, the quietly wealthy saver. So let's break down what that actually looks like in the real world. Okay, check this out. This table breaks it all down, and it's pretty eye-opening. Now, look at the loudly broke spender. You'll notice they actually earn more, $200,000 a year. But look at their asset allocation. 100% goes to their lifestyle. Now, compare that to our quietly wealthy saver. They earn half as much, but, and this is the critical part, 50% of their income is allocated to building assets. The focus is completely different. One is obsessed with appearing rich, the other on actually being rich. So what's the payoff? What's the result of these totally different choices after just 10 years? Well, the loudly broke spender is stressed out, probably in debt, and totally trapped. Meanwhile, the quietly wealthy saver, by just investing that $50,000 a year, has a net worth of more than $1.2 million. That is the absolutely staggering power of prioritizing assets over appearances.
And you know, this isn't just some hypothetical example. It actually reflects a real cultural shift that's happening right now, as we speak. The whole idea of stealth wealth is gaining some serious traction, especially in our post-pandemic world. And there are a few key reasons why.
First off, there's a massive case of social media burnout. People are just getting tired of that curated, fake-it-till-you-make-it influencer culture. We're all starting to realize that it's often built on a mountain of debt. The credibility is just gone. And at the exact same time, you're seeing the rise of quiet luxury in fashion. Super high-end, expensive stuff with no visible logos. It's a subtle signal that basically says, if you know, you know.
What's really going on here, deep down, is a philosophical shift in what motivates us. People are starting to trade hedonism, you know, that short-lived pleasure you get from a new purchase, for something called eudaimonia. And to put that simply, it's a deeper kind of fulfillment that doesn't come from buying things, but from having a purpose, having security, and having control over your own time.
Okay, so this brings everything we've talked about right back to you. It's time for a quick and, let's be honest, a financial self-audit. And don't worry, this isn't about spreadsheets or complicated budgets. It's about one really simple but very powerful question.
No, seriously, take a second and ask yourself this. Who are you really trying to impress with your spending? Is it your neighbors, your followers on Instagram, your colleagues at work? Once you can honestly identify the who, you can start to question the why, and then you can analyze the actual cost of earning that approval.
Because at the end of the day, the path to real wealth isn't about out-earning or outspending anybody else. The true goal is to master your money by stepping off that hedonic treadmill for good and winning the internal battle against that need for external validation. That, right there, is the real final boss.
And we'll end with this thought. In a world that is just screaming for attention, where everyone is broadcasting their supposed success, maybe the ultimate power move, the most powerful signal of true, unshakable financial strength, is silence. Thanks so much for diving into this with me.